So, I don't know what that's saying. If that's a saying in England.
Yeah, it's an English expression. It's sent to Coventry, not talking to somebody, deliberately not talking to them person, everybody not talking to them. That was the expression, sent to Coventry. Oh,
Exile.
okay.
Yeah, that's all I got in that. Yeah, like people who are lonely or like feeling excluded are more likely to join sort of radical groups, regardless of what of the nature of those groups. That's all I got. But it's kind of interesting because what we've seen in the pandemic, with everyone being very isolated, and then suddenly all these like fringe things just exploding in popularity, like QAnon and stuff.
That's a really curious point. Yeah, and it comes to my mind again that the remember the Maslow's pyramid, like how important different needs are, and the feeling of identity, like of belonging, is actually somewhere after the safety and basic needs, right? I think it was like one of the
Yeah.
higher social needs after just surviving.
I mean, there are arguments. There are arguments that Maslow's pyramid is like kind of a it's kind of classist, and that you don't actually need the lower ones in order to have the higher ones, and it isn't really like you can kind of it isn't really a pyramid either. But the one thing that I know about it, which is a fascinating fact, is that originally LSD was part of the formulation, and that got swapped in for self-actualization. But originally, LSD was in fact a core part of Maslow's original pyramid.
Oh wow, was it on the top?
Yeah, I mean that's the that's where self-actualization is now. So yeah,
Cool.
that wasn't up.
I was referring to a book earlier by Barry Kaufman, which is called Transcend, which takes Maslow's pyramid of needs and extends it into the transcendental. But can I ask you a question, Wayland? Are you saying you really don't believe that Hillary Clinton rang a paedophile sex ring in Ping Pong Comet Pizza? Are you saying? But it did say on the receipt, child.
Pizzagate?
I mean, on the receipt it said
Conspiracy
CP
theory, yeah.
for cheese pizza, and then conspiracy theorists were like, "Ah, that means child porn." CP, like if they're ordering like C's to the White House, that's obviously code for child porn. It can't possibly mean cheese pizza place. And someone got shot.
Or something.
You know, like people have
Yes,
actually
they did.
died because of this.
Somebody
this
actually
nonsense.
took it seriously, which is what you should do. If you really believe there was a child pornography ring being run by Hillary Clinton in a pizza place, and quite rightly, you should go in and shoot somebody. You know, that is only the one person that really believed it. The others did it for political reasons. So that guy really believed. He took a gun into this place where children were being abducted and abused by Hillary Clinton. And of course, that were nonsense, but he really believed it. That's an understandable action.
Yeah, I mean, this is my opinion, and not to get political or at Americans, but every single American president has been responsible for the death of children all over the world through their foreign policy. And
Very
I don't see
good
anyone
point.
having moral. Well, like, and yeah, like I don't see. Yeah, I mean, essentially, a lot of it's very funny how we look at things that Hitler did all these terrible things, but actually there are Hitlers everywhere doing Hitlery shit everywhere, and
Nowadays.
people just don't give a shit because it's in other countries, it's happening to other people in places that are poor.
Yep.
And like
Correct.
Europeans were horrified because Germany was doing to them what they've been doing to other countries for centuries.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, I'm from a former colony that the English invented concentration camps in.
Yes.
South
Africa,
and
war.
South Africa. And the stuff that's happened in Africa, quite frankly, is it turned your bones to ash. Knowing about the stuff drives you crazy. Yeah, got a little bit emotional there, but I'll pass the baton to somebody else. What is the topic, by the way?
Loneliness and solitude, but don't worry, we always segue on to every topic that feels just whatever you want to talk about. Yeah, this is I agree with you that there's a lot of things that today people don't really realize, because I think I mentioned this talk when with my one of my friends when I talked about some like ideas that I have, like crazy ideas about the world, like maybe I should do this to change the world, or maybe AI, or this or that. And she asked like a very reasonable question: why do you think you have the right to do these things? I said, because I believe in the better future, because those people who are evil, they're not going to ask your opinion. They're going to go and do stuff, while those people who are kind, or like, they want to create a better future, because they overthink too much, because they want to get approval from everybody else. It's just like the count of actions is different. Like those people who are evil, they don't ask your opinion. They do their stuff. And those people who want to do something, yeah, they eventually they don't do as much as those evil people. So I think that moves
That's Jordan.
Hmm?
As Jordan Peterson says, before you try and change the world, change yourself. Because
Definitely.
if you're operating from
Exactly.
a faulty basis, yeah, you're gonna unstuck.
Yeah, but I
The
think
one thing you can change is yourself.
it's hard, but I think that's the
Oh,
most
yeah.
difficult and interesting goal. Yeah, I think one of the like one of the other phenomenons is that whenever people start changing themselves and thinking about how to make themselves better, they kind of stop at the moment where they don't want to change other people, because they have their right, it's their choice. Basically, if you think about it, it's their choice. When people want to live a different life, it's really difficult to change them, because partly subconsciously it's their choice. Like in Russia, a lot of people, they complain that the government is not doing enough. Like they have to do this and that and social stuff and medical stuff and all those things. And a lot of people complain that the quality of the governing is not good. But I thought about it a lot, and I was thinking about, actually doing something maybe to change the future. But I came to the conclusion that the mentality of people who complain is actually something that makes the country not as successful as it is, because the real actions of people who complain tell about their inability, but almost like they don't want to change things. It's a very convenient position that you
Yeah.
put yourself into a victimized position and complain, and it's great. Like you get some secondary, benefits out of it.
Yeah.
So
It's no good complaining unless you've got a solution to propose, really, is it?
Yep.
no, for a
Yep.
lot
That's
of
what I think.
people, I think that's just like, they just like to complain. Especially with the internet, a lot of people get more freedom, and they like to criticize. As you can see, like a lot of people, they tend to criticize other and devalue them, rather than constructively criticize somebody. So
Mhm.
yeah.
LT has his hand up. Go ahead, LT.
Oh great, we have like a party of people.
Mm.
Yes. Thinking about loneliness and solitude. Now, I
Hmm.
was wondering who hasn't experienced loneliness in their lives. So, is it natural? Because I can't think of anyone who has told me I have never been lonely in my life, or I have never experienced solitude. So, is it natural that we all experience loneliness? And also in being or experiencing loneliness, uh, you, I guess, I know me, I every now and then I talk to myself. So is that natural?
I think we all talk to
Um,
ourselves all the time.
I do that all the
yeah.
time.
So
Me
isn't
too.
this a natural thing? I think everybody has experienced loneliness, even growing up, and
Hmm.
then also insecurities can bring about
Yeah.
our loneliness status, because if you don't feel the confidence to approach or to express yourself, then you are basically in a secluded state,
Yep.
even within your own mind, that you don't have the confidence to join or participate. So um, it's a good subject. It's broad,
Hmm.
but it's a good subject. That's all I had. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing in some
Yeah, thank
change.
you.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good question, I think. Does anybody want to comment on that? Okay, so there are a lot of new people, so let me just like have this little talk that I always have. This is a theory of everything. It's our show. There are two co-hosts, me and Mendez, over there, and we purposefully keep our hairstyle so that way people can always recognize us. So every week we change. We chose this name because we couldn't come up with one, particular direction that was, self-explanatory. So we decided to talk about different topics like every week. So we choose some topics that we're interested to discuss. And this is like an open discussion where people can be sincere. They can share their own experiences, and through these personal connections, we can, by listening to other people and their opinions, what they feel, what they see, what they experience, we can always share share, and through that sharing we can expand our own mindset. So this is my goal. I really enjoy these events because I hear different people's opinions, and I really enjoy that globe where I can see people from all over the country, all over the place, and that's the point. So yeah, feel free to share
Yeah.
your opinion and express yourself.
Um,
Yeah, you can raise your hand, by the way, that way we can see you on the panel and give you a megaphone so everybody can hear you. So, is it natural to feel loneliness and subjective loneliness, objective loneliness? Is it the same stuff? Always, like, another thing that comes to my mind is actually think about the twins. Like, those people who have identical twins, they have statistically like much lower rates of depression, of loneliness, like subjective feeling of loneliness, because they always have this connection. And I think that statistically, those twins who live close to each other, they have much stronger bond. But even if they have twins that live far away from them, just the fact that they grew up with a person who looks exactly like them and who spends a lot of time with them, it makes them feel less lonely. Like
Together.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So they have this strong bond that actually helps them throughout their life, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um,
Oh, Paul?
well, Cosmic had her hand up too. I'm unable to give her a megaphone. Try
Because
for
she
me.
does have a megaphone.
I have megaphone.
Yay.
I do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I froze for a little bit. Sorry about that. Well, I just wanted to say I do believe loneliness is natural, on this world at least. I think, when we are trying to find ourselves, trying to figure out who we are, until we really have established a strong foundation in ourselves, I think loneliness is inevitable. I know that when, through my teen years, my early adult years, even through my 30s, I experienced loneliness. And it wasn't until, in my 40s, late 30s, 40s, when I really started coming into my spiritual awakening and really, really coming into myself and getting so strong in myself, no longer needing, other people's validations or really anything from anyone outside of me. That's when I stopped being lonely, and it turned into solitude for me because I really enjoyed my own company. And, I think that's when it shifts, from loneliness into solitude, where you are perfectly happy being by yourself and you do lots of things by yourself, and it's not loneliness anymore. So that's all I wanted to say.
That's great, actually. I
Ooh,
love
thanks
the
for
way,
that.
yeah, you brought a lot of interesting ideas into like the difference between the solitude. Yeah, and I love the way your name is just like perfect in this my design of our world. So yeah, anybody else wants to continue on that? I think this is a really good point. So I have another hand raised. So Malachi again, David. It's nice to see real names. Do you have a megaphone?
I just want to say, I think loneliness is about having a low vibration.
Oh, we talk about that a lot, vibrations and those ideas. Can you expand that idea a little bit more?
Not really, but what everyone tells me. It's about having a low vibration.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, because this is like you can hear these like definitions a lot today. I always say that some words are even they have fashion, like because I work with languages and I teach English in Russia. That's why I always pay attention to words that are used, and I feel like a lot of words they have fashion. They come and go, like, and people actually use some words more in some periods. So this is one of the very popular words now. So, yeah. So, if I can continue on this point, I think this is a really, really good example that the transformation from loneliness to solitude is like a whole journey. I think people should move on from, not should, it's just like a very personal journey for each person, I think. And I really remember that my sister, I really liked the metaphor that my sister actually gave me. She said, imagine you're trapped into a room. Like it's a white room, there are no doors, no windows, and you're trapped in there. And you have nothing, like no communication with other people, and you have no TV, nothing. It was like 2000 something, 6 or something like that. We had no phones at that. But now I think this example is even better. She said, like, if you're trapped in such a room, like think about your first reaction. Are you going to try to get out of it? Like, because you're trapped there and you feel unhappy, you feel disturbed and lonely? Or is it like, she said, like, try to be that person who's not going to be really upset about it. Try to be that person who's, when you are in that room, just enjoy your time. Like, think about the things you had no time to think about. Like, she said, like, be the best company for yourself. So I always keep that room in my mind, like whenever I think about, loneliness and solitude. So solitude is different because it has pride in it. It has dignity in it because people like who are able to spend that time with themselves in that, white room, like that empty room. I think that's where people really become able to feel to transform their loneliness into solitude. And also, it's like a very good test for a person. Like, am I an interesting person? Am I the most interesting person to myself? If I'm that interesting, like a lot of other problems are solved naturally because other people are interested in you if you're, truly, genuinely interested in yourself. So, Cornelius, would you like to add to that? Let me give you a megaphone. Hold on. Let me give you. I don't. Oh, there. Oh, you have a megaphone.
Should
Right?
already have one.
Yeah, good.
I have the
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I am amplified. So just wanted to. I totally agree with you, Asi, and I think that in order to have a good relationship with your partner, you need to be okay by yourself first. It's really
Good point.
common that for people that is not good by themselves that they end in a really bad relationships, right? If you're okay, you are able to give more love and receive more love than if you are not okay.
Yes, a very good point. You're like God. I don't see you. Like you're somewhere speaking to us. Just a voice from above.
And I walked to the other way because that spot was really crowded. So.
Oh, really? No problem. You can wander around the world. If you have a megaphone, everybody can hear you. That's the good point about VR. Instead of screaming from the other part of the room in reality, it's good to have a megaphone here. Yeah, and I see some new people arriving. Yes, very good. And I think that's a really good point because when you feel comfortable with yourself, in that case, you choose your partner because you're being picky, because you compare, am I going to be happier with this person than I'm happy with myself, by myself? And whenever, like, if you don't have that, I feel like a lot of people who choose their partners, they're not choosing their partner. They're just like choosing not to be lonely. That's why they're trying just to escape from their loneliness. Like my sister had that problem, my younger sister actually. She constantly jumped from one relationship to another relationship. And every time like she had some problems, I would always tell her, calm down. Just like give yourself some time to be alone. This is very noble. It's a very important time because every time you have somebody who's naturally influencing you, you shift to, to another direction. You're just jumping from box to another box. Stop and really spend some time with yourself. This is much more important because that way you can test yourself maybe to a point as well, because like when you're too busy doing things and you have no time to be alone, like to be with yourselves, you kind of trick yourself because you're being by being busy. It's really easy to slip away into this escaping state where you just run away from each other, from yourself.
A good way to ignore your own problems and
Yep.
just trick yourself into believing something that's not really true. And it's important that you take that time to reevaluate your current situation so that you can grow. But unfortunately,
Yeah, but she
I
gave.
wanted to add. Can I add something?
Sure.
Um, but I've done a lot of different stuff in my life, like good and bad, and I think everything was bad until I got to that point that I felt so alone that I wanted a change in my life, and I turned that loneliness into a feeling of solitude, and during that time where I was quote unquote lonely, developing my solitude, I created and I've done some awesome stuff in my life during those moments. So I
Yeah,
do
cool.
think it's real important that we do get a chance to be alone or feel that loneliness so that we can grow out of it. That's all.
Great example, great point. Yeah, ultra funky.
I
Oops.
would say something. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
say
I
something
was.
about that. It's just like you talk about solitude, and I would say like if you have a relationship, as you said about your sister, you have to mourn for a while and understand what really happened. I don't
Exactly.
see that the solitude, when you go into the solitude, is that you should like be there because of the solitude and be noble, and maybe hurting, when you sit there. I would say like this: that is when you have the time to find the path in life, decide what path you want to go, or jump onto the path again. Because every interaction you have with a person is going to try to nudge you off the path you have. So you need to have that possibility to go back, think, who am I, and if I decide to go this path, where you call solitude, and I decide to follow this, I know what kind of people I can bring into my life. Life becomes
Yes.
much
Yes.
easier. Life becomes so much easier, instead of like just inviting, like you explained with your sister. She invites a new person, and she never finds her grip, or foot grip, in the world, because it goes too fast all the time. So I'm
Exactly.
just saying that
Exactly.
the solitude is really like, I think that is, as you say, is noble. I practice it. I really enjoy having the possibility to think about things. But I also, like somebody said, I think it was Mendes, that you have to evolve yourself. But I would say not only evolve, find your path. I think that's the time when you find your path.
Yes,
Just saying.
very
So
good point.
Yes,
Very good.
definitely.
I like you sharing that too. Yeah, because what I wanted to say is like the noble is a word that I think a lot of people don't understand that. Not in all cultures, I think solitude is respected as it should be. Because, for example, in the place where I'm from, like all the girls, they are indoctrinated by this idea that you have to get married, you have to have children, you have to get married. It's like all the time the society just tries to indoctrinate and wire that into you. So when people life changed, and just because our generation got into that gap, like the cultural gap, a lot of ladies I know, they're like around their 30s, and they're unhappy because they live their life expecting somebody, their prince, to come and marry them, and it ruins a lot of lives because they have like their expectations. First of all, their expectations are not realistic because they don't have a chance to experiment, to make mistakes, like to try different things, to be to have something else they can lean on. And yeah, and I'm not even saying that sometimes when people are lonely, they don't get a chance to get married. They feel very like they have a lot of pressure from the society because like, oh, why aren't you still married? You're so pretty, and like it kind of, I think it's like even worse than saying that you're ugly, because they say, if I'm so good, why nobody marries me or something like that. So yeah, I think it's really
Okay, I
important.
have a theory.
Go ahead.
Sorry, as continue, please. Did you finish? Or
No,
else I'm gonna wait
the
for
main
you.
point is that I
Oh,
think it's important to let people know that being lonely is not negative. It's not bad. It's like it's
hmm
something that should
it's
be
part of the
respected.
process.
Yeah, it should be
I think it's
respected.
part of the
And
process toward our human growth.
yep,
We have to have that time alone and with that solitude.
yep.
Go ahead, Phyllis.
I would say like this. This is my point of view. Is it like when you're young, you have lots of friends. This is an example. You have lots of friends. You accept things because you don't know how the world works or who you are. So you let people, and you lose so much time instead of working with yourself to talk with this person. But that's also going to teach you who you are. The older you get, the more you understand who you are and what kind of people you want around you. The times when you start to decide who you're going to have around you, you're not going to accept as many people. So there are going to be fewer times between the people you're going to meet when you get older, because you're not going to accept them in the same way as you did when you were younger. That means that you will lose time. So time goes slower. So I would say when you're young, work on yourself. The older you get, the more you're going to accept things if you work on yourself from the beginning. If you don't do that, you're going to have a really hard time the older you get with things, and to accept things and have a meaningful life, because and meaningful life, but it's going to be tougher because you haven't decided who you want to be. I just want to see that. That's how I see it. With the flow when you're younger until you get older. So that's what I think makes it harder when you get older to interact, or you feel like you said, like, oh, does anybody love me, or why can't I find the person I want to find, because we are more picky. But this is just my view of things that I wanted to put in this conversation.
That's a very
Well,
good
thank
point.
you for sharing. Yeah.
Always good thoughts from Alta Funky. I like that. Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Anybody else wants to join the conversation? I see one hand raised. Was it new or old?
But still feelings.
Yep. You changed your name, by the way. Your feelings. Interesting. Okay, a lot of new people. Yeah, and I think, loneliness and solitude is like culturally different in many countries, I think, in many societies. And just the shift in the lifestyle, I think, that I mentioned today is like really important, because the life as it is, it becomes faster and we have more contacts, but they're not as high quality contacts as they used to be in the past. And I think that may contribute to the feeling of loneliness. And I kind of like, I see a lot of times during the day where I scroll down my feed in some social network, and it's meaningless, but still, because I have no meaningful alternative, like no conversation that I can have with a person, go outside and spend some time with a real person, because somebody's busy and people have lives, and sometimes it's hard to find new friends when you move to another place and stuff. And I think that there are more distractions today, and it's a slow fuse bomb, I think, because a lot of people, they may find themselves lonely later in life when they used to find out in the past, because it was really evident. If you were lonely in the past, that was like very, very understandable and reasonable, and like very visible for yourself and other people. But today, like, there's so many distractions that sometimes it's even hard to really stop and think about the important things in your life and those connections that we have. Okay, so another hand raise.
I agree. Real quick before you pass the mic, I just want to thank everybody for coming. I'm gonna be getting out of here. I gotta go spend time with some family. Thank you guys. Please be nice to Ozzy. Have a good night.
Yeah, thanks. I'll try to handle this from this on. Okay, so Graham, is it L or AI? Let me give you a microphone so you can comment.
Oh, is it cut off?
Almighty, yeah.
It's Graham Almighty.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to comment on that. I definitely agree that like it seems like nowadays, like especially like social media, like you're encouraged to have more like a lot of different like shallow friendships more than ever, and you're enabled to do that with technology. Before you couldn't have like an audience of like thousands of people just by going and winking your eyes on camera like you can today. Um, Hundreds of thousands if you wink other things. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of push back on the idea that like people are, or not push back on it, but I kind of wanted to offer like more to the discussion about like people not being as available as they used to and being busy. Like I don't think people are actually busy nowadays. Like a lot of people in the United States work like retail jobs and like fast food. And, like they're busy, but they're not doing anything like that is a net benefit to society, especially like with obesity and like people like having too much stuff and stuff. Like just about all like kind of low wage jobs are not a net benefit to society. And if people, instead of going to them, like could have their basic needs met and like do other things, like I think that would be a huge plus. Like I think the idea that like people are busy is just not true at all. Like most people just are chronically unbusy and need to be doing more better and fulfilling things.
Oh yes, those definitely. I think a lot. It's almost a problem that people. I think a lot of people try to keep themselves busy. And remember that, people talk a lot about this 80-20 proportion, that 80% of the stuff we do is not actually bringing us benefit. It just brings us 20% of our result. Whereas, like, in reality, 20% of your actions and your efforts, they bring the majority of your benefits. So I think a lot of people, they are trying to escape from some deeper problems by keeping themselves busy. So I think that's like it's almost a need to be busy. I think it's easier to say, "Oh, I'm busy. I have a job," like instead of doing some things that might be more challenging, like in an emotional way or some other way, like facing the like when you have a lot of time, you start thinking like, what is the meaning of my life? Like how long am I going to be on this planet? Like what should I do? Like that's why people have their crisis in their 30s, in their 40s. Once they transition into a new state where they probably have more time, they're like adjusted. Like in my 30s, for example, I'm more adjusted in my profession. I don't spend as much effort and time doing some stuff with my job. And that's why I have a lot of free time now to think about what is the meaning of my life. And just because you see the first signs of aging, you also think, how long am I going to be here? Like, I should do something valuable, like something meaningful in life. So I think that's scary. And I think it's easier to keep busy, like just to escape that.
Superficially busy and not really like what the best thing to be doing actually is.
Yep. Paul?
I think most people just want to escape.
For example,
yeah, Cosmic
the
Girl.
problem with goal setting. You got me?
Yeah.
The problem with goal setting and achievements, it's the process of achieving and moving towards the goal. Once you've achieved it, you think, what next? Like the astronaut, I'm not sure who it was. Armstrong, was it? He went to the moon, came back. What's left? He got depressed. I think it was Neil Armstrong, or possibly one of the others.
Maybe Leonov.
So it's the process of actually moving towards the goal rather than achieving it itself is supposed to be the most rewarding thing.
Yeah, and probably comparison is the thief of joy, because like when you have some amazing things in life, I think it's so hard to go back to some like things that are more boring. I think we discussed with one of my friends actually the fact that she says she said for some reason she said, I don't feel happy. Like my joy is just gone. And like, I think I have a depression. I'm like, welcome to my world. And I feel like a lot of my friends, they say the same stuff, that they don't feel as happy as they were before. And maybe because we compare this world that we have today with lockdowns, and I'm a big fan of traveling, and traveling is like my main goal. Like throughout the whole year, I save money, I plan the travels, like I get visas, I have a lot of stuff, a lot of effort that I put in emotions into traveling. And now when I'm unable to travel, I always compare the lifestyle that I used to have with what I have right now, and it doesn't make me really happier, because because I'm unable to travel, it really makes me more depressed, and my life kind of feels dull. And when I compare these two moments, like before and after, it's hard. I think some people, I even like see some people who had nothing exciting in their life, and they are totally fine because they have nothing to compare to. So yeah, sometimes when you have something as exciting as going to the moon, yeah, I think it doesn't get any better than that. So yeah, hard to get back. Okay,
I agree.
what do you think?
I just wanted to say that I totally agree with you. I love traveling, and sometimes we need something new to excite us. But I also wanted to say that those like trips and things like that are like the bigger moments in our lives where they're not gonna happen all the time. So it's the smaller moments, the daily moments, where we need to, where I feel like I do better appreciating those smaller moments, because travel, that's amazing, and you're that's really exciting, but that's what it's at, like, every couple months or every year if you're lucky or whatever. But like the daily moments when you are with yourself, and when you can really hunker down and go deeper within and really get to know yourself, because people, I agree with you, people just want to escape themselves and their lives, and before I was lonely, before it turned into solitude, I used to want to go on vacation to escape my life because I didn't build a life that I enjoyed. I just wanted to leave it, and just get away from it. I didn't want to be myself either, even. I just wanted to. I wish I had a remote control where I could just disappear and leave my life. So I think a lot of it is figuring out what makes you happy, and building that life that you don't need to take a vacation from, and it's in those little moments every day, where you're actually happy to be alive. So I think that's just the happiness. I had to learn that happiness comes from within. It's not so much my external environment. I mean, it is, that's still important, but my transition really helped me to focus from the external world of environment to my internal world and my thoughts and my feelings. And that's when I started actually happy no matter what my outer circumstances are. So that's really helping, and my happiness within.
That's a really good point. I still have a hard
We
time
had
with
a,
them.
we had a thing on happiness a couple of weeks back, didn't we?
Yeah, how to be happy. We had that topic a couple of weeks ago, and I'm
I think I
willing
came up with
to.
an equation given by somebody else, some psychologist. Happiness equals your set point, your genetics, plus what you have control of, plus what you don't have control of, something like that. I think it was Jonathan Hyde came up with that.
Yeah, also good.
Happiness hypothesis was the book.
Yeah, I think the biggest point is that gratitude is like one of the biggest keys to actually being happier and to avoiding major depressive disorder and a lot of those, unhappy states. So yeah, being happy with those little moments, it's like an art, I would say.
Different way. I see it from another point of view.
Oh, great. Bring it on. Let me give you a megaphone. Hold on.
Yeah. Maybe it's not so much, but a lot of people, they live in the. Okay. A lot of people are living in the external reference mind, and they compare themselves a lot to other people, and they say, listen, am I better than this person, or I'm better in this thing? And that takes a lot of energy because you're best of being yourself. So I'm always saying like this when I meet something. I don't compare. If I win anything over another person, I only know that I'm better in this thing. That person can be twice as good as anything else I'm doing or the personality I am. I only know this. So I can only win when I win over myself, my fears, whatever it is that I'm doing, and I complete and manage to do. And that's a little bit the trip you're doing. See your name here, Cosmic Starlight. You know, like you were saying, like working with yourself. But I say like always compete, but compete with yourself, never with other people, because it's going to be so exhausted. So
Yes, I'm guilty.
it's going to take too much away from you. So I'm winning every time I'm doing everything I do, even if it's just moving a spoon on the table. I'm winning because I'm doing for myself because I need it, and that is where the joy comes from it. You know, because you evolve all the time.
Yep.
So that's the winning or the positive way of going about it. At least how I see it. You know, and I always say like this: the tougher life is, the more enjoyment I get out of it, because I know I'm going to learn something from that situation every time. So I always say like this: when nothing happens, I get depressed. When things happens that goes against me, that's when I say, hey, bring it on, I'm going to learn something today.
Yeah, very good
You know,
point.
that's
I
I
think.
think
Attitude.
Yep.
Jordan Peterson says, compare yourself to what you were yesterday, not compare yourself with other people. Yeah, compare yourself what you were yesterday. Hello, yeah, what you were yesterday.
true.
I think that's basically what your feelings are hurting my brain. Oh, ultra funky.
Oh yeah, ultra funk. It is. Yeah, this the text is a very interesting thing, but that we can talk about later. My name. Oops, sorry.
It's like a long name. I didn't recognize you in the beginning. Oh, your feelings
Yeah,
are.
let's listen.
It's really funny. Yep. Yeah, I think
And the
gratitude
problem
is.
with, you know,
Go ahead.
striving for external things, you know, you get a Ferrari and you compare yourself who's got the top of the range Ferrari, you know, and that, I think that's the problem. And if you, you know, relying on external verification, yeah, that is the problem.
It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the problem. You
comparing
can
yourself
get
with
the
other people.
Ferrari, but you should have it for the right reason. Like
Right.
I'm a happy owner of a sport car, and I had this coworker, and he said like, I've been working with you for 7 years. I have never seen your car. I don't really know. I don't really believe that you own it. So when I quit my job, I drove up and parked it, and I just showed through the window. There it is, you know. But I was thinking like, yeah, then I'm doing something wrong. No, something right, because I bought that car for myself. That's like my suit. I put it on when I
But
want to look good, you know, and for myself to enjoy, for myself to
yeah,
enjoy it, not to show it off. So you
not
can
my
own it.
point. My
Just you
point
have
is
to know
not to compare
how.
yourself with a guy that's got an even better sports car. Say, oh, that's got it because it's unending. I mean,
Again, I have the car that I need to have or I like. I cannot compare that. I think that something is better that I don't know anything about. So that's no reason to compare. But I'm with you there. Totally, you're 100%. But the way I approach it, you know, if I want to have another car, I need to buy another car.
Yeah, it's like the motivation. Is it because you want to show off and show other people your status or something? Or is it because you enjoy fast cars and like, you really get those emotions and like you really want that thing? Yeah, really
Exactly.
cool.
You need to
say
you know
man.
we have this saying. I don't know. See if I can. Why have things you don't need, um, and bought by money you don't have to impress people you don't like.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, Alien. Nice to see you. So,
Okay.
you're like one of the most frequent visitors of this event. Maybe you can drop in a couple of words about loneliness and solitude.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Bring in some change. Or if you wish, you can pass and like just listen. You don't have to.
I'll think of something to say. Yeah. Hello, Paul.
Yeah.
Hi,
Okay.
Alien.
I have another hand raised. That's really good. Mama Mo. So maybe she or he can go first.
She.
Yes, great.
So I have come to a personal knowing that none of it matters, and it all matters. That life is in a very mysterious way paradoxical. I had a experience last Thanksgiving. I will say that it's the biggest reason that
brought me to VR because um, I'm around people and I can share my story. And I didn't want to be alive anymore, so that led me to take action. I
Mm-hmm.
was both brave and stupid enough to take action.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened, I survived my attempt, but um, I came out with a very deep appreciation and also a personal knowing. I say that because everybody has their own knowing. They will have everybody has their own truth, what's true for them. So
Mm-hmm.
you're absolutely right. And but anyways, in my experience, life as I knew it was over, and I was only afraid until I had that knowing, and then I wasn't afraid anymore. But I started to suffer because I was in this black place. I was all alone,
Mm-hmm.
and my soul, I don't know, I was calling out for people I knew were passed on. And my dad, my granddad, there was no answer, and it got to a point I realized I was alone. And
Mm-hmm.
in that loneliness, and in that loneliness, I started to create. And what I started to create were recreations of the feelings that I felt in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Feelings of I wasn't worth anything. I didn't, I wasn't loved. I'm insignificant. I don't matter. I'm
Mm-hmm.
stupid. Just all these negative things, and those thoughts started to kind of consume me in a way, like fire consumes something. And it even felt like it was burning. And I wanted to escape it so bad, but I knew it was forever.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a profound experience, and I thought, I don't want this.
Mm-hmm.
This must be hell. And I cried out for my like again, I cried out for my dad, I cried out for my granddad. Somebody help me. And I've always struggled with God, because at my last moments I felt God was not there for me. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever, I'm out of here. And and in that moment when I wanted to get out of those feelings of just was a sad loneliness is what it was. Just a depreciation of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I call the second I thought about quote unquote God, God appeared. And when I say that he appeared, he had no form, but I could see him clearly. I cannot explain it. All I know is that it felt true. It felt the truest thing I've ever experienced in my life. It was a very deep love, deeper than the love of my mother, deeper than the love I have for my children. It was so deep and so pure. And I felt that in my loneliest moment, the lonelier than I ever felt in life. I felt it in that spiritual, I'll call it a spiritual realm.
Mm-hmm.
And the God started to speak to me
Mm-hmm.
and said that you have to choose me. But it was like the biggest challenge of my life. I'm like, I can't choose you because I didn't know you, so I couldn't choose you. I had to see it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw it. I saw him clear as day, even though there was nothing there. He was there. I saw him. And I was still burning in those flames. And I said, sure, I choose you. 1,000 times I choose you. Please help me.
Mm-hmm.
And just like that, I called them my flames. They stopped, and I was literally existing in a pure um, feeling of love and a feeling that this was the creator. And so I kind of made this promise to, I say, God or myself, that I just wanted to learn that. I wanted to learn God, but there was this knowing that to learn God, to just learn life and just love life and just be. And not to really desire anything, but there was a appreciation, there was a love in that. Like I had dreams to go back to Japan. I lost everything I built for myself in this world, make a new home, and I lost it all.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I wanted when I left. I wanted my life back, and I came back into my body, and I was not the same ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't even feel like I love Japan. I do. It's like my second home. But I realized now I know God, and now I want to learn Him. And you know what I found out? It's my truth, but God is everything. God is the air you breathe. He is the person who hates you. He is the things you don't like. He's the things you love. He is the wind that blows in the trees. He is the tree. He is the roots. He is darkness. He is light. He is alone, but yet he is here with us. He's inside of us. You are God. I am God. It is it it, it may sound confusing, but I realized that that's my truth, and
Mm-hmm.
I joined this meeting because I realized I used to be scared to be alone. I used to be scared not to be, not to have a boyfriend or a spouse or children, to be home alone, to not have friends. But there is something beautiful about all of it. Being alone, being with other people, two people, three people. They each have its own specialness, but at the same time, it's all special. So, um,
I love the way you put it
it,
because this is exactly what I feel. Because when people talk about God, I think this, like, it's the same as with love or any abstract thing. It's really difficult to really be on the same wavelength because people have different understandings, especially with VR worlds, because people come from different cultures, different places, different countries, and every person has different understanding. But the way you put it, this is exactly how I feel about it. It's that everything is one and everything is the manifestation of these, whatever you call it, like energies or God or maybe like Brahman or all those different states. And I really love the way you say, like, when you have different states of being and you enjoy them because they each of them are unique. Like, I always love this feeling of the atmosphere when you have, like, there's one intimate conversation with one person, or maybe when there are three people, this is like a totally different atmosphere. And like I have this like almost a taste of what's going on when there are like different states and different like social groups, and like just walking down the street and like seeing the same city, the same street, but in different sunlight is even different. And every moment is unique. And I think that's really, really important to appreciate. And I think that's the trick about it, because when people have depression, it's really easy to, it's not easy, it's like it's almost like a maze that where you are lost, because it's difficult to see things in a positive way when you're depressed. Everything is just so negative and it's like looped, and you can just like, you're stuck there and thinking about bad things, and like over and over again, and it gets even worse. And that's why when you're even worse, it's even more difficult to see positive things. So yeah, I love the way you put the words into this idea, like in your thoughts are like very they call to mind. So I think we're on the same wavelength. And yeah, this is really
Is it negative?
what do you mean, like
You know,
the
when you
depression?
fall into a hole, yeah, depression and then the dark hole that it's described here, because when you fall into a hole, there will be an end to the hole, and that means that from that, when you touch the button, you can jump up again and you can continue up because you have gone to the end, and all the way while you're falling, you learn who you are as a person. You can say
well,
dark things about yourself, but you learn. It's like somebody said, I don't trust people that hasn't seen the darkest side of themselves. And I
Mm-hmm.
can say that I've been in a very dark place, so I know that I know myself. And when people don't know what they are capable of doing and who they are, not seeing their dark side, they only chase the light. The things that they can do, the things they can manage, the things they can create, and that kind of stuff. They should also need to see the things they can destroy. So I don't see that. It's a tough place. I would never want anyone to go there if they don't need. But I feel I see myself as lucky, in the way that that this is a possibility to learn a lot about
Mm-hmm.
who you are. So I'm not like 100% with you when you say like this that it's just a dark place that we should look for something else. I think some people really need to fall into that hole to know who they are, and I think that's those people are like old souls that need to learn something more, because the younger you are in your mind, the harder it's going to need to fall into that hole, but because you're here, Mamu, that means that you're a very strong person, and you
I
have
hope
so
so.
much that you have brought with you through this, and you have so
I
much
hope
to
so.
teach. Remember that.
Because
Yeah, I'm just saying.
one thing I wondered was, am I fixed? Actually, it took a while for me to kind of, for lack of a better term, kind of come down. For days, I was in this state, and even my family was like, "Whoa, you're different. What happened?" And I know it sounds dramatic, but I tell them I died. And the reason why I actually choose those words is because, just a little side note, I was wearing my Fitbit, and it tracks your heart rate. And for about 6 minutes, there was just this nothing, just a gap. And it was at the time that I had my experience. Because the last thing I did was look at the clock before I locked myself in my closet. And so I was like, oh yeah, my Fitbit was saying my heart rate was like 30 beats per minute. It was severely low, even after, this is after the experience. It was 30 beats. And I mean, you know how like when you breathe, your chest goes up and down? And it wasn't doing that, but I felt fine. Like I'm looking at my watch going, should be dead right now. Like, but I felt fine. In fact, I felt better than I ever felt after my experience. But it was in that darkness that I realized I I only go up from here. And I won't say that, I've never been depressed since then. I have, but nothing close to what I've been before. I'll go down and I try to use every quote unquote negative or positive experience and try to learn from it in that moment. But when, for example, I'm dating, I'm on my dating app. Oh, time to move on. I'm going to find somebody. And the dude's just a jerk. And I go, what can I learn from this right now? Because I could sulk, go in my room and cry and get back in those feelings like I'm not worthy, and I go, no, it's to show me I am. And that person, we are not meant to connect in that way right now. And I'm not caring about what moment we can connect. It's just I don't let it get to me and I try to move on. And even my sister says, like, how do you, sometimes I can't talk to you because you're always being so positive. I go, that's exactly what you need. Then that's exactly what you need me to be, is positive. And I'm here when you need me. My life is not perfect. I still have problems. I hate my job. But, I keep on trucking. It's not a quality I had before. I had it because of that darkness that I had. The way I look at dating, I'm just like, I need somebody who loves me for me. If I go telling this guy, I tried to, CS, if you can guess what that means. He's like, I don't do that. You got problems. Goodbye. That's my truth. That's my life. That happened to me. That's my experience. That's what made me who I am, what I am, and to change my belief system. So I'm looking for that person who, gets that. But also, if I don't find anybody, I'm also okay with being alone. Because finally, I know it sounds cheesy, but finally, I'm loving myself.
And that's where
So
it gets,
even if I don't have the job, even if I don't have the place, even if I don't have the location, even if I don't have the friends, are you okay with you? Guess what? God is. You're never alone. You're never really alone. If you can take a breath, it means you're not alone. And even when your breath stops, you're still not alone. You're probably closer to God than you think. But that's been my experience with loneliness, and I just wanted to
Thanks for
share
sharing.
that.
This is really, really valuable to me personally, and I think to a lot of people. E. Saunderson was also like waiting. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's quite all right. Yeah, no, I was felt very similar to Mama Mo with the everything and nothing kind of encompassment. Everything we all know is contained within our brains and everything. It's everything. It's the universe that we know and all the rest of it. It's all what we know is contained within our minds, and really, when we go, it'll be all gone. But then God being not the term I use, but I understand that, I don't like organized religion, but I do believe in the oneness of us all and all the rest of it. But no, recently I've come across a big lonely feeling, which isn't normal for me. I'm not a lonely guy in the sense of I'm quite happy with my own
company.
My own entertainment, my own company. I'm good with that. I've done Vipassana once before. For the people who know, it's a 10-day silence. So again, you're surrounded by people, but you're on your own. I've never felt alone. I've never really pulled myself out and goes, "Oh, I feel lonely now." But recently, again, occasionally I see people, but it's coming about more and more that I'm lonely. I'm just not really seeing people anymore. Like everyone's
This pandemic.
yeah, pandemic, and my friends all having children now, so I am not. But there's all my chats have gone into children chat groups. Not that that's a reason I feel lonely. I don't know exactly why I feel lonely. I was moved by yeah. I've felt in similar to your situations before. I've had my I see. Do we all go through epiphanies such as meeting God and stuff like that? Is that a common feeling? Because I've felt something similar to that at a stage where I've been part of the universe.
Yeah, I think every person. Mm-hmm. No, let me give you a megaphone. There you go. Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was common. In fact, after my experience, I didn't want to tell anybody. So I thought people would just call me crazy or whatever, say something, which they did. But I went
I
straight
feel the
online
exact.
and I.
No, I felt the same. I felt like, but the more I talk to people, the more I realize people do experience this kind of feeling. I don't call it God, I call it the universe, but it's a term nevertheless, you know, and we're all part of it. I am part of it, you are part of it, and we move through life, and we're this and then we are that sort of thing. But I would like to know how common it is, and I do believe I wouldn't tell people in the street, I wouldn't talk like this in public without an avatar of fakeness around me that hides my identity. Otherwise, it's a crazy person. Could be perceived as.
Why? I think this is totally normal, and I think a lot of people should have it. It's like looking for God. It's almost a practice in many cultures, like because people ask each other, like, "What's your religion?" Well, like, "What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" I had a lot of these conversations when I was a teenager. Like, I had American friends who were Catholic. I live in Russia, so there are a lot of Orthodox people, like with like a different branch of Christianity. In the region where I was born was like a lot of Muslim people, and that was like all of those were put up atop the paganism like beliefs that we used to have, and like a mixture of things. And of course you have these situations where you discuss things, and sometimes there's even a competition which religion is better and those things. And I think this is at one point, at any point of your life, I think these topics arise, and just some people find easy solutions. Like if they have, I personally, I kind of envy, not just, I'm a little bit jealous to those people who are believers, because they have easy answers. Like they have all the answers. All they have to do is just believe. And I think that's an easy way, because I always ask questions and I never get like answers that satisfy me. And this is like a constant search. For my whole life, I've been searching for things, and all the answers I hear, they're not, well, because I ask questions a lot and I want to understand things, which is maybe like a flawed approach in the first place. Who knows? But this is my way of fathoming things, and I have to understand and like make sense of some things and really see how my internal compass actually resonates with that understanding. And I think that looking for God, if you want to call, like, I think this is like any word you can use, something, yeah, like put any word you find, like it's just like I always
cannot be bound.
Yes, exactly. The words that
God cannot be bound by a word.
Exactly.
Or religion.
Mm-hmm. That's
you can't put a face to it. Some people, if if you don't mind me saying, some people they have these experiences, right? And they say they see Jesus, they see the robe. I think that if you are, you are a devoted Christian and you have an experience like that, you're going to see Jesus. If you're a Catholic or if you're a Buddhist or something, you're going to see Buddha or Shiva or whoever. If you never really gravitated towards any of them, they are kind of similar to me. Actually, is what I found in the research. But, so, what's the answer? There is an answer and no answer at the same time. That God is there, but He's not there, but He's there. You can't say it's not there. Even air, it's not there, but it's there, right?
Yeah,
You cannot
exactly.
see it. You cannot grab it. You find ways. You create it, and you find ways to contain it, like a balloon or something. Just like you find ways to contain God, to worship Him, to feel His Spirit. But if you're not concentrating or putting active effort, you feel He's not there. You feel that the air is not there. I could go on and on, but
Yeah, I think this is an
No,
interesting
that's
point. Yeah, this is a really interesting point. And I think there's another thing about some, in Buddhism, I think there's like this point that, I think in many different sources, you can hear that heaven and hell is what you consider heaven or hell. Like it's going to be almost personal. Like like I hear from some people that there are many different heavens, kinds of heavens, like those pagans. Like a lot of people where I live, they believe that when people die, they go into a different world, which is very similar. They still have those, tables and things, and that's why when every date, like a year after or maybe 40 days after somebody's death, you always have a lot of food and like feasting because a lot of people believe that they have that afterlife. And other people, they believe that there's heaven, like in Christian perception, whereas like Muslims, they have a very different idea of heaven, but it's similar to Christianity. But I think that it is possible that every person could have their personal hell and their personal heaven just based on how they see their life and like what is their perception of reality. So this is really interesting.
Destiny.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? This is really hard to understand because I think the closest thing that describes my beliefs is like agnostic, because God is, as you said, this is something so large that there's no word to describe it, because we have very primitive level, in my opinion, we have very primitive level of development compared to what we could have achieved or maybe we can achieve in the future. So I think that we are not on that, final stage where we can really understand what God is and what exactly God is like, and maybe it's a collective emergent property of all things that we have, like our universe and people and oneness of consciousness. Maybe we're all pieces of one consciousness, who knows? So yeah, this is a very interesting topic, and I like the way you see yourself in this large picture. Okay, I see some hand raises, so let me give you a megaphone. Ace Sandera had already, so healing vibrations. Nice to see you once again. I like your avatar name.
Hello.
Yep, and your name.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good to see you. So what's your thoughts on that?
Hey. Yeah, I'm just, can you see me both hands there go? Hi everyone. Yeah, I had an awakening 8 years ago. And my work, my life now is helping people to understand their purpose and how the universe works and what people determine God is. So my daily work now is connecting with what some people would call beings, aliens, all this life that that people imagine is there. And when you start connecting with this energy, it becomes your normal. And the people that I work with connect with these energies, beings that you see from different vibrational realities. It is our normal life now, and so it's not like we're not looking for the answers anymore, because we feel like we've learned. I feel like I understand what the purpose is now. It's more about experiencing, acknowledging who we are, that we are God. We are God trying to find ourselves. That's the irony of it.
Mhm.
If you're looking outside and looking for somewhere else,
Mhm.
you're never going to find it because it's us. We created us to experience us. God created us to experience itself, and
Very
that's the
interesting point.
realization.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's that when the paranormal becomes your normal, your reality shifts, and then you have another set of questions, but just a different set of questions.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Thanks.
just thought I'd say
Thanks
that.
for sharing very interesting ideas. I enjoy this meeting a lot. Okay, let me see if there are more hand raises. The company is not very large, so I think if you keep the megaphones and it's not, echoing, it's great. Okay, Dexenio, would you like to add something? Welcome to.
Hi.
Yep, hi.
Hi everyone. So I'm an astronomer with the Royal British Astronomy Society, so
Oh,
I'm a
great.
physics boy myself. But my epiphany was physics actually. It was um I have a firm basis in psychology. I'm studying my master's in psychology. I won't be a very good astronomer because I'm not very good at math, but I'm enough that I can wonder at the universe. Um, and the infinite questions and the boundless beauty of it. I don't believe in any sort of description of God I've heard so far, but I certainly would never deny it. And looking out into what we are even learning now, what we don't really understand, the standard model of physics has just been shaken up and the general astronomy just no there's 85% of the universe that we don't even know what it is. There's so many questions, and having my awakening was looking around and realizing I was blessed to be a conscious being able to look and in awe and bring in this beauty. I mean, well, the chances of me being able to do that, and I feel really blessed. And that is some higher power than it has my love and my thanks, and I will keep striving to answer some questions. But that was me. That was my experience.
Thanks, thanks a lot. There's a very high concentration of astronomers in this room, right, Alien? Would you like to share something?
Cool.
Yeah.
So our long time, yeah. Hold on a sec, let me give you a megaphone.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say a bit, and it is interesting listening to Mama Mo and others here. You see, there's this. It's not so much a consensus, but it's a common theme that people, almost all humans, I believe, just want to think that there is something that is binding us all together, that is out there, and that may be the case. We don't really know, but no doubt, maybe one day we'll find out. If there really is something that's out there. But it is certainly true that regardless of your religion or lack of religion, that we are beings capable of abstract thought, very complex abstract thought, and I think we all seek to find something that satisfies the questions we all have about life and why are we here, what's our purpose, is there a purpose, yeah, that reflects because we simply are able to do that. We are able to imagine maybe higher beings or spiritual aspects to our life that bind us all together, and I think that's a wonderful thing because as far as we know, we are the only entities in the universe, probably not, but we are entities that are
So
able to
far.
do that. And in a way, that's a great privilege to be able to do that because
That's a great way of looking at it.
it's a pretty unusual thing to be able to do, and I think it's wonderful. And regardless how it manifests itself as God or spiritualism or whatever context it comes in,
Or consciousness, or just
it's a real privilege to be.
psyche.
Yes, that's right, consciousness or whatever you want to do. It's a real privilege to be part of a species that is able to do that. So
And
I think
currently
it's
at the
all
time that we
good.
can do this as well. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
I'm just
this
saying
is all bringing
this.
out. This is a medium that more than any other I can think, is able to allows us to express that, because we can be in an environment like this with wonderful music and a whole mix of cultures, which is amazing. I think this is one of the things I really love about VR, is that you can have almost the entire world's worth of religions and spiritual
Mindsets.
beliefs and that, all in a room like this. And
Yeah.
it's quite amazing. And I think that, I suspect that over time, as VR gets more and more used, that there will be new forms of religion emerging from the mixing of all these people. Because in the past, we've all been in individual countries and hardly ever speak to each
Regions,
other.
yeah.
But at last, we're all actually coming together, and we are all being aware that there is this phenomenon of thinking about things beyond our everyday lives, beyond it's sort of trans survival intelligence, I always call it.
Yeah, I love the way you put it.
and
Yeah,
it's an
trans
amazing
survival.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Social psychologists have definitely got their eyes firmly fixed on this what is going to emerge, because it's not a chat room. We have avatars. We are expressing ourselves. We're building worlds and things.
Yes, and we can
And like you
move our
say,
hands and-
it's like a new religion, and well, you know, or a new subgroup or a new way. And you know, social psychologists are already putting theories into it. Is there going to be hierarchies? Will there follow social norms and stuff? So it's I think you're very astute to make that observation. And it's great to think that we're at the beginning of it. That we're
Yes.
you know, we're
Yeah, we are.
fledglings in it.
This is a new thing emerging from human society, and I just think it's wonderful to be able to hear from like Mama Mo here, and just to empathise with somebody who has really been through the mill, you know, and some of us are lucky not to be depressed. I'm a pretty optimistic person, but at the same time, it's really nice to be able to empathise with people who.
I have to say, I really enjoy this event. Yeah, because this is amazing to hear, being able to hear so many stories into a short period of time, and the conversations are so profound. This is really cool. And I just like get inspired by listening to different people and the way. Yeah, thanks, Paula, for coming into a visible part of. Yeah, it's really cool because I get inspired a lot, because once you say these things, I really remember that these are my ideas as well. These are my thoughts as well. But sometimes you get just because they get repeated in your head, you stop seeing them. We're so lucky to be alive today. We're so lucky to be conscious enough to realize things. We are lucky to be able to be here in VR. We are, that we have available headsets, and we have available technologies and time and like languages to allow us to do this. So I really appreciate this. That I can see you guys and hear what you're saying and sharing. Thanks to everybody. Okay, I have some more hand raises, so maybe we can hear some more amazing stuff. Cosmic Star Girl.
Azzy, that was lovely, by the way.
Oh yeah, thanks for coming, and I would love to add me as a friend. So whenever you see me online, I'm always happy to talk to you guys. So.
Ozzy, I do want to say this is a really great topic, and today has been a phenomenal gathering of all of us. I love hearing. I actually especially wanted to shout out to Mama Mo to thank you for your courage in sharing your experience.
Yeah,
that was
great.
really beautiful,
Great
and
stream.
to hear you validate what I haven't had an experience like that, but I came in here with an inner knowing, so I still had to go through my spiritual experience, my awakening, but I always knew that was what God was. And so I was just love to hear you so anyway, I commend you on your strength, and I'm so happy you're still here. I'm so happy that you're contributing to this glorious transformation the planet is going through. I also wanted to just say to Healing Vibrations that I live in your world, and my reality is so expansive. It includes all forms of supernatural, all of our extraterrestrial, alien, quote unquote aliens. They're not really aliens, they're just our brothers and sisters, our friends and family that we just forget about. But and I also wanted to say to Dax that my friend Dawn of the Dead and I are embarking on our own discovery of quantum theory and quantum physics, and the subatomic world is so amazing, and all of the discoveries and everything that every area of quantum science, quantum biology, is exploring. The molecular world of plants just the whole everything, and the bridging of spirituality and science by the quantum world is so amazing, because
Mm.
now finally there's areas of science that are reaffirming and backing up what mystics and metaphysicians have been saying forever. So it's just a very exciting time to be alive right now. I know there's a lot of shit going on, but if you can just look past that and try to find your own center in your solitude and your silence, you'll see the beauty of everything unfolding. We are embarking on the most amazing time on our planet. So I just wanted to say, yes, quantum physics is really the future. So I love getting into that world. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, thanks. That's
Thank you.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that vibe. Anybody else? Yeah, I granted you a megaphone, so Ultra Funky, would you like to add something?
Oh, yeah. Maybe I'm a little bit out of line with this, but I was thinking like when you say I'm so happy that I'm here now in this time and everything, but I was thinking like when you said that something like was saying me is told me like this, or the thoughts started to run in my head, and this is like this, um, but we are misfits. You don't have to agree with me, but that's how I see it. That
No,
we
I
are
agree with you. I
misfits
think,
because
yeah.
we're talking about this, and this is not the normal thing. The feeling
No.
the things we share here is a different thing. It's in another level, and that makes us misfits, and that makes us we're gonna get hurt because people are not gonna understand what we're saying, and they are gonna see us strange people walking this world, but we also need to know that being a misfit, we are like a brick in a wall. We need to be there for the wall to be built. People will maybe not appreciate us now, but they will later because they will need the things we bring to the table, the things that we talk about. I'm just saying, so even in somehow that we say we're so happy in this, yes, in this group we are. Outside this group, maybe it's hard to be happy with all this. A little bit what Mama Moo was talking about, like it's hard to find yourself if you're an outsider, but you're not alone, and we really need to be the persons we are because everybody's going to need you in the future. I'm just saying, like, so we're lucky and we're unlucky, just so don't be afraid of being different. That's the thing. I'm just saying, like, we understand that we're lucky, but not everybody else is going to do it, and everybody's not going to treat us the correct way. I'm just saying, I was just thinking aloud
Thanks,
when I
thanks.
heard that
I love the way you
so,
drop the change always. I love the way you always express your own opinion, and even if it's not aligned with everybody else, which is beautiful. I love these events because I think this is really important to have diversity. So that's why I really appreciate Paul whenever he says, "No, actually, I disagree with that," or "That's just crap." So this is really what's really beautiful about these events. And I always try to create this atmosphere where people feel free to express themselves, because this is really cool that we can do that here and not get conflicted, which is great. I think we passed that filter where we can share ideas and not get conflicted with other people, and just allow those things to happen and other opinions to happen. That's really cool. Yeah, A. Anderson, I think A. Sanderson also mentioned that this not all people. It's not very conventional to talk about these things and having profound conversations and stuff.
But I was just thinking about that. Like, Charles Dickens said, like, it's the best of times, it's the worst of times. And like, I'd say right now, it's the best of times, it's the worst of times. So to feel that way is such a human experience. It feels like centuries and stuff like that. So although, yeah, we are on super cutting edge technology right now, every generation before us felt the same, and every generation afterwards will feel the same. What we are feeling is a human experience, which is quite humbling. But then again, I've never been in a room with people from all around the world in the same different parts of the world instantaneously.
Yeah, so that's why we actually put this little globe in here with Mendes, so that way people can come around and see what's the geography of our conversations.
That's me.
I'm in
Florida.
the UK, but I didn't put my location.
It's just fun to see.
It is fun, actually.
Is somebody in Turkey? I think I saw someone like right in Troy.
Why not? Yeah, people come and go. Sometimes so you can see like some.
Ozzy, where are you from? Are you in?
It's between two seas, the Black Sea and the Caspian Lake, basically. It's the mountain range. Yeah, as you can see, like on the right, like the vertical one. It's
Caucasus Mountains.
Yeah, it's Caucasus Mountains, Caucasians. Should I always share my stupid joke about Caucasians? That in American English, that Caucasians are white people, and in Russia, Caucasians are black people. So it's really funny. If you go to Moscow and you say, like, they say, oh, these Caucasians, they're like black people. You should be careful with them. It is funny.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Might save my life.
Your feelings are hurting.
Yeah, you should be careful if you live in Russia. Yeah.
Soviet Russia.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen some name. Nikita, I think.
The accent.
Yeah. Nikita, are you from Russia? Ты из России?
Hello, I'm from Ukraine.
Oh yeah, a brother from another brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Soviet Russia. If you talk about Soviet Russia, Ukraine is part of that. Приветчик.
Yeah, it was. Yes.
It's interesting how we're all in the northern hemisphere, unless Jet's here, of course, and then she.
Yeah. I was wondering if she's going to come.
Here tonight.
Australia. But we had a cup of tea.
How's everyone feeling about? How's everyone feeling about the metaverse or meta now? By the way, as we are all, I'd say we are kind of frontiers of the thing. But how's people feeling about meta?
Oh yeah, we can segue to that because yeah.
Sounds a bit sinister to me. It's got that sinister feel to it. It's like
it sounds like they're trying to rebrand just to avoid some of the controversy that Facebook have had with them. But maybe if they do change it, that might be a good thing. But we'll see. Time will tell.
I think what's important to remember is that if someone wanted to track our movements, we've got telephones and headsets and computers and things. They don't need extra things. They know where we are. What way to do what we're doing.
It's not necessarily the movement; it's about what we do here, though.
Like the government 5, humans like 0, us the people 0.
Stumpy, let me give you a megaphone. Yeah, the idea is good, but I'm not sure about the execution of the idea. We'll see.
What the?
Okay.
Yo, that's insane. I have, that's insane. That's mad. That's mad.
Hello.
Well, it is mad. We're from all over the world and in the same room. It's funny how my brain actually tricks me into thinking that, am I like everybody's? I move around to make sure that everybody's comfortable and I'm not too close to somebody or like not
People
blocking
got
the view. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Instantly, my brain is just like, yeah. Or like it was really funny to. Sure.
A question.
Yeah, Paul.
Question. I was very interested to hear what Healing Vibration said. But his job in life is to teach people how the universe works. Have I understood? And I don't quite understand what that is. How does the universe work?
Thank you.
50 years.
No, I was fortunate. I was fortunate enough to work with a very gifted quantum physicist and a conscious explorer called Tom Campbell. And over the last 8 years, I've also worked with a lot of I've also worked with a lot of altered states of consciousness with different plant medicines, and I've had my own spiritual awakening. And so I've done different disciplines to find what it is that unites everything together, what it is that is bypasses the belief systems of religion and everything else, and that helps me to do the work that I do. And at the moment there is an awakening, massive awakening, and over the next 5-10 years it's going to be even bigger. the healers that I know around the world, basically. I know groups of healers, and we all get the same messages. But it's the same thing as if you don't receive the information, if you don't put this headset on, we're not going to be able to communicate like this. And when your extrasensory perception kicks in, suddenly you've got access to all these, like you could be beings that we're all speaking to and communicating with. And it is an exciting time. This is a massive awakening. And yet more people are just spontaneously in access to these altered states of consciousness.
I still don't understand how the universe works. Sorry. Maybe
What in a sentence? Okay. Yeah.
It's not as easy.
Basically, it's consciousness. So we are in a virtual reality, and everything's a fractal. Like this, we are creating what actually consciousness itself is creating. Ironically, by doing this, so the fundamental is consciousness.